All right, as you can tell, I'm on a hiking trip in the snow, a solo hiking trip. I decided to go today because, it's my only free day, really, I'm not gonna lie. And this video, I'm not gonna read off any type of script, but I do have some questions that I do wanna answer with this video. So I think I came alone because I just wanted some quiet, some stillness. I didn't want the company of another person to ruin the experience of a solo hiking trip. So that's why I decided to come alone. What does silence feel like right now? In our generation, we always have stuff blasting in our ears, whether it's music, a YouTube video. I just wanted to choose a day where I'm able to just walk in the quietness and actually think for myself for once. Usually I have music playing in my headphones, or I have a YouTube video or a movie. Usually when I'm driving too, it's always music playing or something playing in the background. So I just wanted to be intentional. Another question I have is, what usually distracts you in everyday life? There's a lot of distractions in everyday life, I'm not gonna lie. But I would say the biggest thing that distracts me is YouTube. I do enjoy watching YouTube videos on a daily, but sometimes, it's really good to take a break from that and go outside and touch grass, smell the fresh air, and really experience life beyond just a screen on your phone. I don't like the cold, I'm not gonna lie. So I think putting yourself in situations where you feel uncomfortable, eventually you'll become comfortable in those situations. So, me coming out here today, I almost ended up not coming outside, but I made a promise to myself that I was gonna do things that aren't really the most comfortable thing to me, and I think this is one step closer to that goal. I have some more questions. How does solitude feel different from loneliness? Solitude, I think, is an action. It's a choice of being, I want to be to myself. I want to keep my thoughts to myself. But loneliness is a feeling of desperation. It's a feeling of, I need somebody with me now. That's where I feel like solitude is different from loneliness. If we take it back to scripture also, we know that a lot of times Jesus chooses to pray alone, away from people. That's an active choice, so where he can get more personal and deeper in the prayers that he does take, especially the prayer before he knew that Judas would betray him in Gethsemane. He did bring along, I think it was 3 disciples with him, but he did eventually end up going up on the hill by himself to talk with God. So I think solitude is a choice of you saying to yourself, this season I want to be by myself. I want to keep my achievements to myself. I don't want to share too much with others. And another question is, what thoughts show up when you stop moving? I feel like the biggest thoughts that do show up when you're stillness, all in yourself, is fear. I feel like fear and doubt plague a lot of people's minds, but I think the biggest thing over that is action. You have to just go ahead and do it, not care what people think. Obviously, it's easier said than done. But the first step that you have to take is action. You have to act upon your fears. You have to defy your fears. If you prove to yourself that you can take that action, those fears will dissipate. Those fears will turn into courage and confidence. The next question or prompt that I have is trust without clarity. A lot of times, you're gonna see yourself in a situation where you don't really see a step forward, but the biggest thing that you have to do is trust in God and understand that all the plans that he has for you is good plans. It's not plans to hurt you or anything like that. So the biggest thing that you have to understand is, even though the path ahead seems scary, you just have to trust the process. How does quiet help or challenge your faith? I feel like being in a place where everything is quiet, that's where it's your turn to just wait and listen upon the Lord. A lot of times, like I said before, we use music and everything to distract ourselves, to keep our brains occupied. But being in stillness, that's when God is able to speak. The question that I have here is, what are you holding on to? I think a lot of people are just the main thing is that you're holding on to your past. You're holding on to the things that you've done in the past, and it's really holding you back from what's ahead. We like to really judge ourselves based on the actions that we did in our past, and we don't allow ourselves to grow into what we can become in the future. So I think the biggest thing is to let it go. We need to release those doubts and fears. We need to release the judgment that we have on ourselves from the past. We need to give it to God so we can move ahead and move forward with our lives and become the people who God sees us to be. A good example is Gideon in the Bible. He saw himself as weak, and he always saw himself as weak. So when his clan was being attacked, he ran away and hid. But God saw him as a mighty warrior, and eventually he did make him a mighty warrior, and he ended up defeating those enemies with only 300 men. The enemies were said to have over hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So that just goes to show you that God does not see you as how you see yourself from your past, but he sees what your future can be. So we need to put those fears and doubts to the side and really let God do something new in our lives.